My facial hair will tell you that I've gone through the entire school system, and thus I am very equipped to have a ranking of what the grades are in tier list form. We're going to start numerically with kindergarten, maybe less than 3 memories total from this year of school. I do remember enjoying it though, and I do remember recess and nap time. So for me, it's got to be an S tier. Take advantage of those while you have them. They won't last forever. First grade, I think, is going to go in B tier for me, as it obviously is a harder schooling experience. You're going to be in a new environment for the most part, unless you're going through a K through 12 school. You're going to be around new people, and thus the social and educational adjustments are a little bit more intense than kindergarten. So for me, I'm going to put it B tier. Second grade is a bit more fun though. Hopefully you're not having to move around schools a lot and are keeping the same friends that you had, or at least some of them, in first grade. So for me, I'll put second grade into A tier. I believe at this point you're starting to get into actual math that you're going to be using for the rest of your life. So I'll put it in A tier. Third grade. This is when I had the last year of my elementary school. I went to the same place for first in K through 2, and then third grade, actually, I take that back. I started 3, 4, and 5. So I had to move to a new school in this grade, and it was a bit of a change, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. There was a lot more people where I went to third grade, and thus, for me, it was pretty fun. So I'm going to put it in A tier, although I am sorry to my teachers, as I was probably very irritating to them. Fourth grade, we'll put in B tier. For me, I did not remember much, truthfully, but I do remember not having the unique, fresh perspective of being in a new place. I remember being envious of the fifth graders at my school because they had an end of year celebration where they had, like on the last day of school or one of the last days, they had a bunch of really cool activities for them to do outside, and we just had to sit in the lunchroom and watch them have fun. So I was jealous of the fifth graders, and as a result, fifth grade is going to go into S tier. At this point, hopefully you've made a few friends in elementary school that you have conversations with often. It was cool. I remember being sad though, as driving away from my 3, 4, and 5 school, I knew it was going to be the last time that I saw a lot of those kids. But at the same time, you're really starting to create a lot more memories at this point. You're starting to develop emotional complexity. And thus, for me, I think fifth grade is a blast. I would say if you're about to be a fifth grader or going into fifth grade, you're going to enjoy the year ahead. Sixth grade, though, is going to be terrible for me. You'll probably move to a new school, I would assume, unless you're going to a K through 12. That'll be the last time I try to say that. But again, sixth grade starts middle school, and for me, middle school was my least favorite of these that I'm ranking here. So I've got to put it D tier. You start to go through puberty. The acne is all over you. Your social skills are not as good as you think they are probably. Your sense of humor is very different from where you will progress towards, in my opinion, in the coming years. So for me, having the awkward social and emotional adjustments puts this comfortably into D tier for sixth grade for me. Seventh, though, maybe a bit higher. It could go B tier, truthfully. Seventh grade could go B tier. If you're into sports or some sort of club, then obviously you'll be with a friend group at this point in some capacity, as ideally you've gone to the same place 6th and 7th, but at the same time, you're still really not close to who you're going to become for the rest of your life in terms of your personality. And thus, I'm going to put 7th in C tier, and then we'll actually round it out with 8th grade going to go into A tier. This is the last sort of year of your schooling experience where you don't have a ton of really heavy, societal pressure and weight on you to perform very well. Obviously, your family and your parents are going to be telling you to do well, hopefully. But I would say overall, you're not really feeling societal pressure as much in 8th grade to perform well, and thus it's the last sort of year of your youthful experience. So you can enjoy being a kid in 8th grade, and that's probably the last year that you truly get to do so, because for me, 9th grade is D tier. It's a really, really tough school year for many, I would assume, you're obviously likely going to a new school in ninth grade, and hopefully you have friends from your previous schooling experience, but I did not. In my high school, knew like 3 or 4 people, and it was a school of over like 1,800. So it was a really big change from my middle school personally. I was in athletics, and so I was able to make some friends, which really helped me in that aspect. But it was definitely a harder adjustment going from middle school to high school. It wasn't awful. No, it wasn't like I wasn't dreading going to school, but reflecting on my experience, I think ninth and sixth grade are comfortably my least favorite out of the ones we've ranked so far. Sophomore year, we're no longer a freshman. I'm going to put it in B tier. At this point, you go under the radar for most. You're not really completely out of your depth. So I would say it's more than likely that most people go to the same school, ninth to 10th grade and throughout high school. So you have a couple of friends at this point. For me, I think you do obviously start feeling the pressure of colleges and what am I going to do with my life. But it's not as intense, I would say, as the ones we're about to talk about. So I'll put 10th grade in B tier. It's fun, but it's not amazing. Junior year of high school is a really, really formative year for many. This is when you're really starting to figure out, am I going to go to college? What is my career path kind of look like off of what I think I want to do? And you've got standardized testing, of course, in 11th grade. A lot of your athletic scholarships are deemed off of your performance in junior year. And so there is a lot of pressure. But for me, I had a couple of friends that I was really close with at this point in my high school. And I would say that it was fun, but I definitely started to feel the pressure, from outside sources coming down into my aura. But nevertheless, I'll put it in C tier. And then we're going to put 12th grade all the way at the top of S tier. You're the king of the jungle at this point. You know your teachers. You know where things are. You know what's going to happen. You know when it's going to happen. Senior year is really fun. Hopefully you figured out what kind of direction you want to take after school and have a plan that you're excited about. I was lucky enough to have a plan that I was excited about. So a lot of my senior year, especially the back end, was a blast, truly. I was able to, relax a little bit more and really bond with a couple of new friends that I hadn't had an experience to meet yet or had the chance to. You have senior prom, of course. How could I forget senior prom? It's a really fun year for good reason. It goes by really fast, in my opinion, as well. So if you're about to be a senior in high school, enjoy every day because they really will go by faster than you think. This is my tier list here of schooling years, and what are your thoughts on them? Where would you change it around if you've been through the schooling experience? What do you think is your S tier for school years? And if you're still watching to this point in the video, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Like the video, subscribe as well, and check out a lot of the other tier lists that I have on my channel. I'm going to be back really soon with more, and let me know if there's a specific one that you would want to see. Other than that, I appreciate it again if you're still watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.